What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So first things first, before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. God is so great, y'all. Shout out to y'all, the Rich Gang family. And man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. And anybody who wants to join the Rich Gang family, be sure to hit that post notifications button, turn them on. Go ahead and hit that like button and be sure to drop a comment down below when done. So today, as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, I am bringing y'all the top 3 best, most rare, stretch big / sharpshooter builds on NBA 2K22 next gen. Now, just a reminder for all of these builds that I'm bringing y'all, each and every one of them, all 3, are going to be able to get over 100 badges, and some of these sharpshooter names are going to be able to get contact dunks as well. So the first build that I got lined up for y'all, the pure shooter, I'm telling you, this one is definitely rare because of that name, but also what it's going to be able to do. So as you can see, so far so good. We do get 27 badges when it comes down to the finishing. Under the small forward position, we did go with 6'8", 186 for the weight with a 7 exactly feet wingspan. Now, when it comes down to the shooting, we get 26 badges. As for the playmaking, we're going to be able to get around 22. And then finally, once we go ahead and get into the defensive end, I promise you, all of these builds are going to be very solid, especially with the way that I build them. I'm making them all more the well-rounded that I possibly can. Now, as you can see, so far looking so good on the defensive end. The only thing is, a lot of these builds are very specific when it comes down to the attribute numbers, as well as even when it comes down to the physicals, y'all. So pretty much this is what the build is going to be looking like once it comes down to the main attributes. 25 defensive badges is something that I really do like about this build. 22 when it comes down to the playmaking, and then as for the shooting and the finishing, this is really what's going to take this build over the top. Now, as you can see, we will be able to get contact dunks if you do adjust that vertical to make it to the threshold. To go ahead and pair it up with the 84 and up driving dunk, we actually went with an 85. That's really solid, and we do get 27 badges. Honestly, I can say the way that these builds were made are very well-rounded, because even the badge counts are really going to pair up nicely with these builds. Now, let's go ahead and get into the physicals. As you can see, for the speed, we're going to go with an 80. Go ahead and max out that acceleration. For the vertical, go with a 75, and then for the stamina, I'm going to go ahead and put this either to the max that we can get, which is around 93, or you can go with a 90 and then put the rest into your speed with ball, or possibly even the free throw. It all comes down to what you want to do, but I'm telling you, the takeovers for these builds are really going to make them that much more better. Remember, you're getting a plus 10 to that area of the build, so we do get the slashing, shot creating, then also we're going to be able to get the sharpshooting paired up with the glass cleaning. I'm going to go with the shot creating and glass cleaning, and as y'all can see, we have made probably the most rare sharpshooting build in all of 2K, the pure shooter build with contact dunks. Now let's go ahead and get into the second build that I got lined up for y'all. Going to be called the pure sharpshooter. Now, the build before just was a shooter. This one is a sharpshooter, and we're also going to be able to be really solid on the defensive end. As you can see, we will be able to get the glass cleaning takeover on this build. So if you are still watching, go ahead and let me know, what did y'all think about the first build? And also, you might as well as hit that like button if you are still here, man. I would appreciate it. That helps me out so much. Now let's go ahead and get into the making of this build first. You want to go ahead and put it under the small forward position. And just something to mention, I have one final build lined up for y'all after this one, and the next one, I'm telling you, is more like a Kevin Durant build, exactly how he would be made, y'all, if it were to come down to a 2K build. Now, for the height on this build, I'm going with 6'8" again, 186 with a 7 feet exact wingspan. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of these stats. All you need to do is just follow along and see exactly how I make this, y'all. So when it comes down to the finishing on a majority of builds that are going to be able to shoot this well, normally a lot of people do not focus on putting anything into the finishing end. For me personally, that is the most important part for any build to be more effective when it comes down to the shooting, because if you're not able to finish on the inside, it is so much easier to guard you. Whereas if you're able to go ahead and put something into your finishing, they have to guard you inside the paint, as now finally outside of the shooting as well. So again, it all just comes down to the way that you make this build. As for me, I really like the way that they're coming out to be, especially with the contact dunks. It's really going to make this build just that much more better. Now, 27 badges when it comes down to the finishing. As for the shooting, we're going to be able to possibly get even more if you decided to adjust any of these stats. But honestly, 28 is really good. As you can see, when it comes down to the playmaking, we do get 22. And then finally for the defensive, remember, we're going to be able to get that glass cleaning takeover. So just take that into consideration when it comes down to making these builds. All of them are really well rounded, especially when it comes down to this defensive end. Y'all know, most definitely, I will never bring y'all a build that is not going to be effective on all assets of the floor. Now, I like the 24 badges that we do get for the defensive end here. Let's go ahead and take it a step further. And pretty much when it comes down to the physicals, you really need to pay attention to what you're doing, because these are probably the most important key factors to unlocking certain animations as for the finishing. So just make sure you go with the 75 vertical, and pretty much everything is going to be set up from here. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of what these takeovers are going to be looking like. So we pretty much are going to be able to get the same takeovers as the last build, but for this one, I'm telling you, the shot creating ankle breaking shots takeover is overpowered. Then if you do pair it up with a defensive glass cleaning takeover, only going to make this build just that much more better. It all comes down to your play style as well as your preference. This is what I'm going to go with, and remember, we do get contact dunks. Now let's go ahead and check out the build name, and as y'all can see, we have made the pure sharpshooter build. That means we got one final build left over, and like I said, I saved the best for last, the all-around Kevin Durant build that you are finally going to see. If you made it this far, let me know what y'all thought about the first two builds. Now let's go ahead and get into the final one, y'all. And as y'all can see, we are making the two-way stretch glass cleaner build with post-scoring takeover. Now, I'm telling you, I really went into detail with making this build exactly made like Kevin Durant. So if you are here, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button if you are enjoying it. If you want to join the Rich Gang family, turn on post notifications as well as hit that sub button. And remember, on each and every one of these builds, we are going to be able to get 8+ badges depending on which season you are in as well as completed. Now, let's go ahead and get into the making of this build. We're going to be going with the power forward position. Then, when it comes down to the next thing about this build, you got to go ahead and put it to 6'10". If you want to, you definitely can go with 6'9", but I'm telling you, 6'10" is going to make this more of an OG stretch build. And the reason why I say OG is because if you know about stretches when they first came out in 2K19 and even before that, 6'9" was not too much more of a stretch big build. That was more of a two-way stretch, but the ones that are able to shoot really well would be 6'10" and 6'11" and nothing higher. Now, as for the finishing on this build, you're going to be able to get some really post-scoring badges that are going to help you out. Honestly, when it comes down to back down Punisher, these are some of the main post-scoring badges that you will have, especially when it comes down to drop stepper and badges like that as well. 25 for the finishing. Then when it comes down to the shooting, we're also going to be getting 25. So this is what's really going to make this build similar to the shooting. You're going to be able to add more assets to your game when it comes down to the inside, especially in the paint, y'all. I'm telling you, this is easily probably my favorite stretch big on the list, because you're going to be able to shoot, still dribble, and then even get a post-scoring takeover if you make this build a certain way, and you're going to be able to play like Kevin Durant. Now, the playmaking is still really solid on this build. You're going to be able to get up to 16 badges, but once it comes down to the defensive end, I'm telling you, things only get more special as we go along. So as you can see, when it comes down to the perimeter, we're going to go ahead and max it out. Go with an 87 interior, still going to be maxed out as well. As for the block, this is crucial. I'm going to go with an 80. And then for the rebounding, we're going to go with an 80 offensive with a 91 defensive. And we're going to be able to get 29 badges, or you can go up to 31 if you end up changing some of the stats. But this reason alone is probably the main why I like this build on the defensive end compared to the others. Now, as for the physicals, just be sure to follow along with what I'm showing y'all, and I promise you it's going to work out in your favor. As for the vertical, I'm going to go with the 70, or you can go with the 75. Max out the speed and acceleration, go with the 90 stamina, and this is what the build is going to be ending up like once you do max it out. Now, if y'all made it this far, just let me know what y'all thought about each and every one of these builds. Comment down below which build you're going to be making as well, and just know that I most definitely appreciate y'all making it this far, and just know you are a part of the Rich Gang family if you decided to go ahead and hit that sub button. Now, honestly, remember you do get +8 badges at the end of it when it's all said and done. As for the takeovers, the post scoring, glass cleaning, rim protecting with the sharpshooting, I'm going to leave that up to y'all, man, but y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Go ahead and turn on post notifications to join the Rich Gang family. Hit that like button and drop a comment down below when done. Now let's go ahead and check out the build name, and as y'all can see, we have made the two-way stretch glass cleaner Kevin Durant build. Thank y'all, I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all. And with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.